the two as well.
Let me ask you this, Frank, because we have it on the screen right now. All four P-types here: rain, freezing rain,
Right, and
sleet,
I
snow.
wanted to interject when Tim Buckley was talking about the two options that one's sleet because there's a deep enough cold air layer there
Yeah.
for the melted raindrops to refreeze. Then the other option, freezing air. There actually is that third option there where it's above freezing at the surface, just plain rain, which happens 94% of the time probably in the
Well,
Carolinas.
I think for Tim, plain rain's not on the table. But
Yeah, that's not on the table for Tim in this particular
what's
situation.
the difference between freezing rain and sleet?
Well, freezing rain is where you have the snowflakes form aloft, and then they reach that warm layer and melt into raindrops, and they reach the raindrops at the surface. However, temperatures are below freezing again at the surface because the cold air isn't near the surface isn't deep enough to give those melted snowflakes, raindrops, a chance to refreeze again. So you end up with rain falling, but it's below freezing, so that raindrop lands on something, and some or all of that water in that raindrop freezes on contact. As a result, you end up with ice buildup. Sleet, on the other hand, sleet on the other hand is where that warm layer is, or the cold layer near the ground is thick enough, and that the frozen snowflakes, raindrops that fall into it have time to freeze up, or maybe that layer near the surface, the cold, it's just really cold, and you can end up with those raindrops refreezing into sleet that way too. But the bottom line is, you have, instead of snowflakes or raindrops hitting you as you're walking outside, you have ice pellets hitting you in the face, and they sting a little bit.
They do sting, but at least you know it's ice. Where the freezing rain looks like rain and can be real sneaky by accumulating that ice on the ground.
I want to throw another factor in here. We haven't talked about this.
Okay.
Wind. Are we possibly, because if you look at your 5-day, your 7-day forecast in the National Weather Service, you only see 3 days out as far as winds go. And of course, winds, when we talk about winds, we're always concerned about what the wind's doing out here on the Outer Banks, because obviously we're on the edge of the ocean, and wind is a constant with us, especially when it comes to storm systems. You get an ice storm and you throw in wind, you got a whole nother thing, whole nother issue. Have we even looked at what winds are going to do with this system, or is that not something that we really need to be worried about?
Yes, and while we have the sleet, freezing rain, maybe some snow falling, the wind isn't going to be an issue. However, after the storm moves out and that fresh Arctic air mass moves in, the wind is going to pick up with that. So we're going to be blowing the trees and power lines around a little bit when they're already weighted down with ice in a lot of places. So the Western Carolinas in general, that's going to be a concern Sunday night or later Sunday night into Monday. The wind is going to pick up outside the mountains. The wind's probably gusting to the 25 to 30 mile an hour range. Just adds a little bit more stress. Of course, it also will knock some of the ice off the trees and power lines. So in some ways it's a good thing, but until it does manage to knock the ice off the trees and power lines somewhat, they're going to be weighted down and getting stressed a little further by the wind. Now, that's outside the mountains. In the mountains, it's worse. Your winds are going to be gusting 40 to 45, higher ground, maybe 50 miles an hour. And that's going to be a problem if you have considerable ice buildup and having that much wind on top of it. That's going to exacerbate the situation with the potential for power outages.
Yeah, search galloping power lines. You will see some pretty impressive stuff if you search galloping power lines.
I'm surprised we made it 90 minutes before somebody said galloping power lines. Right? Because it only takes, we should have said this 90 minutes ago. It only takes a 1/4 inch of ice to cause problems with power lines.
Right.
And so when we are talking about ice amounts that are greater than that, that is our concern, especially with ice forming and temperatures staying below freezing for days on end. That's where the concern for power outages come. Brian, who's watching on YouTube tonight, says, any concerns with grid capacity as the cold temps arrive next week? I don't know where Brian's watching from, but if he's from Charlotte, I'm thinking back to that Christmas Eve where temperatures got so cold that we had a capacity problem, and it wasn't even a storm. It was just cold temps. So I'd have to speculate that the answer to Brian's question is probably yes.
Yeah, I'm a little concerned about that because not only are we getting an ice storm, but it's going to be really cold. I mean, the entire eastern part of the country is going to be real cold.
Mhm.
So there's going to be a general high demand for power, and it may be a general thing grid wide that it may be a struggle to keep up with demand.